Welcome back to the Unexpected Podcast. This is Justin Mahwikizi, and we're joined today by our guest, Thomas Peterson of Floor Coverings International of downtown Chicago. Thomas, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Justin.
Absolutely. What I love about the concept of your company, flooring, from a flooring perspective, commercial and residential, is that it has more of an impact to your clients than just a transaction and just putting some different colors within the house. So I appreciate you being here. Tell us how long you've been with the company. What is your focus, and who's your ideal client?
So we opened up our branch of Floor Coverings International back in we launched July of 2023, actually opened up operations December 2023. So we've been around a little over what looks like 3 years now. We've grown dramatically, 500K our first year, 1 million the second year, and we're already about to cross 1 million. It's already Q2 right now. It's a really, really interesting business that requires a lot of different insights and understandings. But I would say this, my target client, honestly, is for starters, someone that's looking to update their home. They want new hardwood to refinish their hardwood. They need to replace their carpets. They need new tile in their bathroom. They need to remodel their whole bathroom. But really, my customer is someone that is has a lot of anxiety around home renovation,
Mhm.
doesn't really know what goes into it, but more importantly, would like to know what they're supposed to know from someone that's been doing it for quite some time. I've been around flooring my whole life. This business been open for a couple of years, and all of my installers, my team, staff members, they're some of the best in the game. And somehow they find me, and somehow we make a good business together. But everyone yearns for transformation. They yearn for something that is different, and the easiest way to kind of change your life overnight is clean your room and reorganize your space. But if you want to really turn that up to 1,000 and really feel something different in your home, you get something remodeled. And the easiest way to create a beautiful result is to get your floors remodeled. So I'm an agent of transformation. I'm here to walk someone through the nine circles of hell, and then to come back and bring all the lessons and all the beauty back from having gone through that. And as every female knows, beauty is pain. It is a stressful process,
Yeah.
but I feel like with our perfect 5-star reviews, we have over 100 5-star reviews across all of our channels, most of them on Google. People really like us for our ability to walk them through that chaos and then come up with a beautiful result on the back end.
Yeah, and I think there's a science to it. It's not just the anxiety of the transformation, or just you buy a $2 million home. It hasn't been well kept over the years. You just need an upgrade. But I think that, and you can confirm with us or not, when someone replaces their flooring, what they're really trying to change, what they're really trying to change is their life, is their mode of view of their lives, where they are and what they're trying to go to. Is that does that apply?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time, and it's only me, and I just hired a designer a couple months ago. He's been for us for about 5 years now. But us both, we talk about this all the time. We were just on the phone a moment ago talking about it. But at the core of what we listen for is someone has something going wrong with their floors. Otherwise, there's no reason to change it at all. If it's something you can walk on and it's not affecting your lifestyle, it's fine. But usually around this time of year, the light shines in, we see lots of scratches, lots of
Mhm.
scuffs, wear and tear starts picking up. Um, I asked them point blank, what's wrong with the floors that you see currently? And they'll tell me it smells horrible because it's carpet, or it collects dust because it's carpet, or it has these horrible scratches that we need to get out, or we just moved, or we just got a dog, and or something's been going wrong. And when I hear that, I hear exactly what they're looking to change is that we have a chink in the shield, we have a weakness in the body armor. We need to fortify that. And I want to make sure I present some options that are exclusively around that ask. If there's a leak, and then the hardwood has started cupping and crowding and started pushing together, and it's making a mess and a nightmare of someone's life, I'm showing you 3 waterproof products or I'm introducing you to a really good plumber, one of the other. And we try to be partner with some, some really qualified organizations around us that can work downtown in these high rises and these HOAs. But at the end of the day, someone's coming to me with a unique problem. It's my job to solve that problem and preferably nothing else. They don't need to hear about all the crazy features, added benefits, things like that. They're looking for one specific thing, but most important, they're looking to be listened to as to what that issue is. And then for me to come out and say, I chose this product for you because you said this, and this would help in these ways. How do you feel about this particular choice here? And then we could kind of talk it through and see, did we nail it on the head? And, a couple of years in business now, it's kind of funny. I could show them one thing and be like, that's exactly what I was thinking about, because if you do it enough times, you start getting a gut instinct for it. Or we have to tweak it around and say, hey, maybe this is, it's going to darken the space. Maybe it's going to make the space feel smaller. Maybe it's going to make the space feel more age. What if we just shifted the color slightly this way, or the plank size this way, or change to a product that does these, or the most common request, can we get it to a price point that's more within what we budgeted for this project?
Right.
And our model is unique because we bring over 3,000 samples to customers' homes in our mobile flooring showroom. If you see those vans that we have driving around the city,
Yeah.
it's not filled with tools or with scraps or equipment. It's filled exclusively with floor samples, and we can fit upwards of 3 to 4,000 different iterations of flooring inside of there across 200 different sample boards. After a brief conversation, usually we can narrow it down to six, maybe 6 to 12 different things, and then we could take 6 to 12 and easily narrow it down to one. And by the end, people are like, "I can't believe I picked that." After looking through all these things, they have an effective decision making process. So, but long story short, it all comes down to the conversation first and figure out what is actually going wrong and trying to keep everything else the same and then changing the key things that are creating the problems in the first place.
That's excellent. Do you see any patterns, because you've done this so many times? Have you seen patterns between people's personalities and the choices they make, whether they go with hardwood or maybe carpeting or maybe higher end on the marble side
Yeah.
to get those clients? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it's really funny because there is an answer to that question about what patterns, so different customer mosaic personalities, we would call them, gravitate towards, and it has less to do with the person. But we work mostly in the downtown area. We work in high rises. We're one of the few companies that are qualified and could perform very well inside of these high rises. Um, the big thing that we see is, and I'll give you a story here, is that we installed on in a high rise over on State Street in South Loop, and we installed a product that looked great. Customer absolutely loved it, and I had another appointment a couple months later that was in the room directly above them,
Okay.
same room but just a different floor, and they said, "Yeah, we're kind of looking for this, looking for this." And in my head, I was like, "This feels weirdly familiar. Why does it feel like the same conversation?" And I thought, just on a whim, I usually bring in 4 or 5 different things, but this time I wanted to bring in two. I wanted to bring in, and the two that I chose was the two choices that the customer and the floor below were choosing between, and which included the one they actually chose. And so I brought those two in, and lo and behold, they saw the one that the customer below me installed, and they were like, "That is amazing. What is that?" And I got to explain. It's weird because I'm doing the same. It's almost like it was like a deja vu moment where I was saying the exact same things, the exact same ways. And it really made me question where a lot of people's personalities come from. Like, how much of it is it the person? We say nature versus nurture. How much is it that's just genetically there, just from their parents, from their culture? And then how much of it is from their upbringing, the people that they were around, and how they were conditioned to be the people they are, what they do for a living, for work, kind of changing personality. But one thing a lot of people consider is the environment that they're in. These people are the same people that walk through that lobby, into that elevator, into those hallways, just the same way as the customers directly below them. And it got me thinking, like, you know what? Like, we're not giving enough credit to the sheer affect of how changing your environment can really change your entire personality and kind of make you feel different when you change that environment. So the same floors I'll see up in the Gold Coast and a couple of properties over there, I'll see in the same units, which would be very different than what I see in the West Loop. And I'll see a couple products there, and people will all sort of gravitate
Ah,
around the same products there. And then the same thing when South Loop, which is slightly different, and they'll gravitate around the same couple products there. And
amazing.
um, yeah, a lot of people don't know this, and it's sort of everyone likes to feel like a unique individual creature, snowflake, whatever you call it. But what we don't know is that a lot of our personality is very much shaped by the markers of the environment that we're in. Take away the people, take away the stimulus, the food you eat, literally the spaces that we live in shape us as humans in ways that we can't understand the true impact of it, but it's extremely impactful to a point where I could show two people the exact same floor, and if one of them bought it, the other one has a really high likelihood of buying it, even if they are not aware the other person bought that floor.
So your segmentation is not really income levels or lifestyle. It may just be location to really give you a way of understanding what they're most likely going to prefer.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's a huge factor, location, and what makes us really strong right now is that we are hyper focused in a couple areas in Chicago. We have the downtown market. We go into West Loop. We go into South Loop occasionally in the northern suburbs. Upwards towards Evanston or Lakeview. Rarely do we go out there, but on the rare occasion, if someone is moving from the city over there, sometimes it gets brought out there to their new location because they like what we did with their old location. I'll see these homes, I'll see the inside these homes, and I'll kind of feel like, okay, this feels normal over here. Real estate matters, normality, sort of neutral matters over there. If people have a strong opinion, to get what the most people are going to value to protect the value of the home. But what the most people value is going to be related directly to that neighborhood. And that neighborhood, I could say, oh, if you're going to want to go this way, because this is kind of what I see the most of, you tell me what you want, but I would start here if you don't have a strong opinion on it. But yeah, the mosaic is very much based on where people are living and what their neighbors are doing, which is kind of like a really funny thing. But if there was a target customer that I would go after, it honestly is someone that needs someone like myself or my designer to just talk them through it. A lot of people, they don't need to be explained this stuff. This is like extremely common for them. So in many cases, they can do it themselves, or they could literally hire a laborer to do some of the work that we go do. And if we're up against that, and if we're ever competing on price for that reason, I say, look, we're overqualified for some of these projects. Like, you have to go with them because what we're offering, it's not really what you're looking for, because you put the work in, you have the knowledge, you have the background, you could go do this. But for that same person, if they want to take on a little bit more specialty type project where, I don't know, we're installing an exotic parquet flooring, or we're going to sand and refinish an exotic hardwood species such as Jatoba, Wenge, Brazil cherry, even if we're going into pine, which is common in the South Chicago areas, or Brazil oak for that matter. It does take a little bit of awareness and specialization as to what happens there. Or if we're going to be, say, we had a request to sand and refinish a checkerboard into a hardwood floor, where we literally stain the squares, alternating to make it look like a checkerboard, which is one of the most unique requests we ever received.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit of extra craftsmanship for that and understand what's going in there. And so if someone really wants to level up their space and they really want to level it up, that's really where we come in, is kind of taking people to that next level, because we have a wealth of experience, like hundreds of years of experience across myself, my direct team members, and my installers. And then we consult with a wide variety of different installers outside of our business, in the event that we do need to understand what is entailed for a specialty project. And in some cases, we refer them out directly, or we take care of it in house and bring them on as a project manager for that particular project. But that's the advantage, is when we get to specialize in something like floors, we're not thinking about windows or painting or roofing. We are focused on one problem, and we're hitting it over and over and over again to a point where we understand it fundamentally different than the average human being. Even the average person that has some construction or handyman background, they need someone that knows how to navigate their way around that problem in a way that is professional and leads to a professional outcome. So really, our ideal customer is just someone that needs help advancing their knowledge, their awareness, but more importantly, the result of what they're looking for. That's directly related to a professional result when it comes to the specialty craft, which is, flooring and floor installations.
No, listen, that's amazing. And what I'm really hearing from you is that you're really not selling flooring. You're almost you're translating identity into a physical environment, and that's I think what I felt. You know, I'm a banker by trade, and I used to work for the old private bank and trust company. They're now CIBC, and they used to have two locations. One was 70 West Madison, the other one was 120 South LaSalle.
Hmm.
70 West Madison was a standard corporate building, normal carpeting. You're in, you're out.
Hmm.
That's what it was. But when you went to the 120 South LaSalle, this is the old LaSalle buildings. You come up a staircase, and it's just open floor, marble, everything, columns, flooring. It was an immediate change in your psyche, right? You're almost
Yeah.
you start walking with a better pep in it. You're more confident, and as soon as you leave the building, you can feel that psyche change back again. So I think the environment you're in, and the flooring you have, whether it's your residential or commercial, matters a lot in allowing you to go through your day better. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I end up in this industry almost by accident. This was something that I had a lot of background with, but I leaned in this direction. Like by practice, I'm really a psychologist. I'm a neuroscientist. I literally have a college degree in cognitive neuroscience. And the reason why I'm not writing papers in the lab right now, which is what I did with my professor back in college, is because we're spending a whole lot of time on really small stuff, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time on really big things. And that's why we're in this trade here. But I started this business with my two younger brothers. We wanted to tackle this market in particular because we felt very capable and qualified to go after this particular audience, get to know this market a bit more intimately than we had known from before. And I wanted to do it because I wanted a family business. And unfortunately, after a couple of years, they decided they wanted to go into a different direction, and we parted ways. But yeah, after they left, I sort of was thinking like, the main reason I wanted to do a business like this and have a partnership with my
Okay.
brothers was because I wanted a family business. And I did have like a moment where I'm sitting down going like, I'm not sure why I'm here, because the reason for why I really started this company sort of left. They took a different direction, and they went in a different way. But this was about a year ago when we parted ways, and since a year from now, or rather a year from ago that they left, we've won, the comeback franchise of the year, which is given to one of 400 franchises across the North American system based on our growth, based on how we were able to reconstruct a team of four people, and based on our ability to really establish connection with the community and the market. It started to become clear to me that we weren't really installing floors anymore. We were exercising demons. We were
Yeah.
taking the ugliness in people and the evilness and sort of the anger and chaos. And when you renovate someone's home and you make it clean again, there's almost like a light that shows up.
Yes.
And we see that there's a difference in personality, and to a point where it feels like a heaviness is left, and everything, it's always lighter. It's never heavier. It's always
Yes.
lighter, cleaner, happier. And I realized that we were transforming people's lives. And if you transform one person's life in the city of Chicago with the number of people that they touch, you could change the entire city if it's impactful enough for just even one person. And to do that, one customer after another, seven customers a week, 350 customers a year. We're really making the city a better place, one floor at a time. And that's really drew me back to this business and made me like rediscover the love in it, was that we are actually changing people's lives. And anytime I walk into someone's home, they go, I'm in trouble, I need some help here.
Yeah.
We met with someone on Monday who needed to move in by Saturday and said, we tried to do this ourselves. We need someone to actually refinish this for us. Can you help? I said, I'm coming out now. And it was 7 p.m. at night. I made it over there at 9 p.m., quoted the place out, showed them the price. I called my team. He said, we'll be ready to start on Wednesday. It's Thursday now. And they're wrapping up the last coat of refinishing that floor, about 500 square feet of hardwood. they're going to be ready to move in tomorrow if they want to, let alone Sunday, which they originally planned for. So, and obviously, huge, massive relief from something like that. But
It does.
I do feel like that, like we are doing some exceptional work for humanity just by being there for people, walking them through this process, even something as simple as the floor that they walk on.
No,
So,
I agree. I agree, and that's a great story. The way you were, there's two great stories. One with this client you just mentioned, but the most
mhm,
important thing for entrepreneurs, I work in mergers and acquisitions, business valuations, and I deal a lot with partnerships, the solutions of partnerships, disagreements. And so your story on how you're able to recover is very important. Can you walk us
yeah,
through your process, how you thought through it? Did you have somebody help you through it? How did you go from why am I doing this? Because that's usually where businesses go.
yeah.
They end up closing because the partner who's left does not have the same motivation as when they started the company. So walk us through that story. I think it's important for our audience. And a lot of business professionals who want to go into business, they're always scared about these type of issues.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've had a lot of experience with business and with seeing and witnessing partnerships go sour to a point was when we started this, I wanted to make the structure as clean as I possibly could. Where yes, I'm doing this with my brothers, but I'm going to maintain 100% ownership. I'm going to invite them in. I'm going to take care of most to all of the expenses. And then when and if we become profitable, which was with any business, you never know if you actually have a model or not.
Right.
Then I will add you to the LLC or the S corp or the C corp or whatever entity we're
Ah,
doing. Then we'll go do that. How does that sound? And they go, okay. And then we'll just pay everyone by salary. I'll take distributions, and everyone will be happy. So I started that from the beginning for that reason. Is I'd like it to be as clean as we could possibly make it, and then go on like and the if I had one regret is not having an actual partnership agreement in place, because if and when things go sour, you want to have a document so you can put in front of
yeah.
a courtroom or a judge or in front of a banker like yourself to say, hey, here's our articles of incorporation, here's our partnership agreement, signature on both of them. We go by this rule of letter. Otherwise, it's very faded and sort of kind of messy.
Yeah.
But I always kind of knew the worst case scenario was always possible. And with partnerships, where what it looks like is that usually both or multiple parties go in very excited, and then it gets hard. And
Yes.
when it gets hard and when it gets stressful, you start to see what happens to people when things get hard or stressful. For people, it's different things. Sometimes they just slow down. Sometimes they depart entirely. Sometimes they start criticizing overly.
Mhm.
Sometimes they start taking control of everything. Sometimes they want to, get more money for the work that they're putting in. Everyone is just trying to battle against burnout. Burnout's not just being overworked, it's also being underpaid. It's also having values that conflict with yours in the organization you're working with. It's unfairness, it's nepotism, it's a wide variety of things that sort of put someone in that helplessness state. And anything that they react that seems irrational is a reaction to trying to avoid that complete drain of energy and sort of having to, like, kind of, take something apart. So I've learned from this experience that when it comes to partnership agreements, for starters, you don't want to judge someone based on their best days and their enthusiasm today for starting business. You
Right.
want to make your judgment on their worst days. And I had a psychology professor back in college that would tell me, if you wanted to go into practice and you wanted to go and start your own practice, and you get a client that comes in and says, I've been to 7 different therapists and I've read all of your work, and I believe you're going to be the one that actually cures me for whatever it is. Any, you know, person like myself, for example, that says, hey, we're changing people's lives, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
Um, he says, if you see someone like that, that will be the person that ruins your entire career,
Wow.
because it's not that you are different, it's that you are next. And
Oof.
when you see when you see how someone acts, when you watch your partners that you're kind of trying out, you watch for what they're doing when no one's watching, or when they think is this is for other people, it's not for you, Justin,
Yeah.
it's not sorry, it's not
Yeah.
for you, Thomas.
Right. You're different.
How they treat their waiters, how they treat the staff on their current teams, how they treated their past business partners,
Mhm. Mhm.
how they treat other people that they're close to. what is the strategy that they take on? One thing I noticed with one of my brothers is that he was sort of mad at another older brother out of the business, and sort of took on this like disownership type of like feeling towards him, like I will never talk to him again after what he
Oh,
did there.
wow.
And
Wow.
I'm like, never? And we were just starting the business that I'm like, really, never, never again, like not even like a conversation. And that told me immediately that, like, okay, this is something that could be a real thing that comes and bite me later on when things get stressful, because our business is always going to push and pull the most out of people. So I made sure that we were protected. And that's the easy thing you're going to do. If you're going to get involved in a partnership, just make sure you have all of your paperwork lined up, everything's protected. Get a lawyer, just pay for them early on, just to make sure all those pieces are tightly knit ahead of time. But we did a good, we I did a good job by essentially making sure that the ownership status was clear. But you do also want to judge your partners by their worst days, not their best days. The same way, if you're buying a bond as opposed to a stock. You're buying it on the basis of the company's willingness to be a company and not file for bankruptcy. Because when it files for bankruptcy, then it goes under. But if you know the company sucks, but it's not going bankrupt, then you have a good bond asset. You're judging on the basis of their worst days. But also, the most important thing with partnerships is, it's probably, if there was a way to make this work with a partnership with anyone, it has to be very clear which part of the business they have reign over, what part of the kingdom they have reign over.
Right.
You do operations, I do sales. We don't touch each other. Agreed? Agreed. Got it. That way everyone feels like they have some ownership with it and can kind of give the things that are not good with the other person.
Absolutely.
Or if it's, hey, I'm funding the business, you're running the business. There's no miss and match with there. As long as that's understood from the base of someone's worst day, you can make a partnership work, but you gotta judge them on their worst days and what they do to their enemies and how they engage with them, and make a basis on something like that.
Absolutely. And make sure you have a built-in plan on conflict resolution. If this happens,
Yeah.
it happens. It's very uncomfortable, but it's better to have it at the beginning of the cycle than when, everybody's entrenched and at least one of them is looking to take the whole thing down. And that's
Yeah.
that's very critical. I've been part of deals like that, and managing both
Hmm.
sides is very important, and making sure you talk to both sides is extremely important, because the resolution is usually not financial at the end of the day. It's somebody feeling heard, seen, accepted.
Yep.
That means to say, okay,
Exactly.
cut this off, move on with my life, versus you're my new enemy for life. I'm gonna, ruin your reputation and all that good stuff. So that's very key. And the fact that you already had an experience there, probably, or seen it, probably helped you quickly recover when the transition happened, and now you're solo. Um,
Hmm.
so that's on the ownership side. If we transition to the operational side, how did you build your teams even after this transition? How did you keep your teams there, are willing to work with you and managing them? What's your approach on that, especially with the psychology background you have?
Yeah. The big thing is that you have to keep everyone in their lanes. You can't have whoever's, we have an admin role, a sales role, and a project management role. Okay. One person's responsible for all the paperwork, dealing with the HOAs, dealing with even getting people on the calendar, because that's sort of overflow for sending 50 points. One person responsible for exclusively go out, meet with the customer, follow up, answer 100% of the questions that they ask, 100% of requests they ask, which is a full time job in itself,
Absolutely.
and facilitates the choice in product, the start of installation, completion, and the terms of satisfaction. And then one it handles exclusively with set up the installations, order the product, make the installations happen, move on to the next one. The moment that we had a job where our production staff actually had sold a job, and by the time that the job actually came back to him, there was lots of things missing, because he's not the one beating away at that craft over and over and over again.
Right.
And when Adam Smith wrote Wealth of Nations, he talked about how if you had 10 workers making pins all day long, you'd be lucky to get 20 out of each of them. But if you had 10 workers each doing one stage in that 10-step process, You might end up with, thousands, tens of thousands by the end of a day because everyone's doing one thing and they're perfecting that one thing over and over again. It's critical that you keep everyone on one thing so they could get better and better and better at that one thing. Even my installers the same way, to a point where even I have an installations teams that will only install one type of product from one manufacturer because they understand what that is. They understand the intricacies and the errors with it. They can focus on making sure that that's perfect. That's the whole idea why you go to for company for specialization. What
Right.
does it mean if you're talking to people within the business and they're clearly not specialists at what they're talking with? Very critical. Everyone is doing one thing. They're getting very good at it. So when someone asks sort of a complicated question, they immediately know because they've done 10,000 iterations of it already. Everyone just has to be in separate roles, and every role has to feed all the necessary things to the other one and output the necessary things to the next one. That's how you build a really massively efficient and profitable business. Profitable from a time and from a money standpoint. You have to get everyone and keep them inside of their lanes.
No, I think it's brilliant because if they're specialized and the economies of scale from a workforce perspective are there, by the time they come to you for a question, you know it's really important because
Yep.
you're not trying to retrain somebody. And that's really good. What are your plans in the next 3 to 5 years? I know you probably plan 18 months ahead rather than 3 years ahead, but where do you see your company going? Clientele wise,
Mhm.
within the same location, or what are your plans for your company?
Well, this will probably be the last question because, even being on this call, I just get phone calls and texts all the time. I have
Yeah.
to run to the next one. But my plans, honestly, is when your team gets stronger and everyone knows how to do their thing, they know how to go hunt for bigger fish. And honestly, we do want to start developing recurring accounts with select businesses, property management companies, which we know all of them very well. They all know us with healthcare facilities that need to update their rooms, and we're finishing up a nonprofit sort of like a recovery center today, which
Oh,
is
great.
about 3,000 square feet of vinyl installation. And then also, a lot of people, they just need big corporate solutions, big commercial solutions that require 20,000 square feet of carpet tile, or someone that can handle that, as well as the sheet vinyl installation, as well as the luxury vinyl plank glue down installation. We want to be able to tackle larger and larger and larger projects. And what we would like to really do is that when residential folks start reaching out to us, we get to pick and choose our customers more effectively. We're kind of there right now. We don't take anything outside of flooring, but we want to get to a place now where we could say, this is a project where this is someone we feel like we could work transformative work on, versus someone that says, no matter what we do here, they're not going to be happy, and or someone that is just not grateful for what we're looking for because we're saving them from paying too much for someone like us. They really need someone that is literally can do, if they're going to do the same result as we do, but they're doing it for $900 less, and that's the opportunity of value that they get. They ought to pay that. But for someone that sees the value that we're bringing to the table, and that's not just like a sales pitch, literally to walk someone through, to present these samples, to be able to understand this market environment effectively, and to be able to do it within a very limited time frame in many cases. People moving in, people that have family coming over, big events. We want to make ourselves available for people that need quality solutions on short notice. So we want to get to that place so that we develop our reputation as, if you need someone to come in and break this glass in case of emergency and hit the FCI button, we show up and we have the ability to show up. So we want to connect exclusively with the people we know that value the added, I guess, premium that we put on these projects. And the honest answer is that not everyone needs our service in particular, for the reasons I already mentioned from before.
Sure.
And we want the ability to point them in a direction where we say, you might be better off with this foreign company or that foreign company. But for the ones that we know that we're actually an excellent fit, we want to be able to tell them with a straight face and then have the resources allocated exclusively for that customer. That's really where I want to see things in the next 18 months. And then from there, It's just making sure that the next person that we hire, the next person member of the team, that they're sort of carrying the torch and passing the baton correctly to the next folks. So that's that.
Great. Thomas Peterson of Floor Coverings International of downtown Chicago. How can people reach you? Is there a number or email you'd like them to reach you at?
Absolutely. So if you go to floorcoveringsinternational.com, if you're in the downtown region, enter downtown zip code. If you're down there, we love to help you out and service you. Our phone number is the easiest way to reach us. I have that phone number goes to me and to my office manager, Crystal. That phone number is 872-318-2119. I promise if you call us with just a flooring question and that's all that you had, we're happy to help because if we pay it forward, we know it's going to get paid back to us. But if you're looking to get a free in-home estimate, to have samples delivered directly to your home, brought to your home, we'll walk you through exactly what you're looking for anything surface related, hardwood, carpet, luxury vinyl, tile, backsplashes, showers, anything related to bathrooms and tiling, for example, is definitely within our scope. Give us a call at 872-318-2119.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir, for spending time with us today. And go out there and get them.
Actually, make it happen. All right, thanks, Justin.
Take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Cool.
Did you like it?
Yeah, that was fun. I digged it. Yeah, good questions. And I'm glad we got to the points that you wanted to get to too. So that's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wish you a great rest of your week, and hopefully I'll see you next Wednesday at the BNI meeting.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. Okay, Justin. Thanks a
All right.
lot.
Take care. Have a good day.